Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a seriously fascinating piece of ancient Vedic astrology. We're going to look at a system that was specifically designed to map out personal vulnerability and protection. It's honestly an incredible look at how ancient minds visualized safety and how you might even apply that logic to your own life today. Let's step right inside. So, think about this for a second. How did ancient astrologers confidently predict victory in a massive war, or assure someone that they'd be totally safe during a really dangerous surgery? That's a super high-stakes question, but it taps into this universal human desire, right? We all want to know exactly when we're safe and when we are dangerously exposed to the world. Well, to answer those life-or-death questions, ancient practitioners turned to the KOTA chakra. Literally translated, this means the fort chakra. It's essentially the ultimate astrological fortress. Traditionally, astrologers relied on it for two main things. Muhurta, which is electional astrology, used for finding that perfect, bulletproof time to start something important, and Presna, or horary astrology, for answering urgent, specific questions. They'd use this fortress to calculate defensive strength and vulnerability during major life events, everything from complex legal battles to serious medical procedures. The physical layout of this system is just brilliant. It maps out planetary positions using these 4 concentric squares. So it's not just some abstract mathematical chart. It literally represents the physical layers of a defending fort. It's basically a literal map of your own personal stronghold. Let's actually walk inward through this fortress together. Out on the very edge, the outermost boundary wall, you've got the Prakhara. Step inside those massive gates, and you find yourself in the Bahya Pora, the outer city. Go deeper still, and you reach the Antara Pora, the inner city. And finally, right dead in the center, we have the Stamba or Kendra. This is your citadel. It's the most heavily fortified keep of the entire structure. But here's the thing. This fortress isn't just an empty stone grid. It's actively populated by the 27 nakshatras, the lunar mansions. These stars are distributed super strategically across those 4 zones and 8 directions. And the master key to all of this? It all starts from the querent's Jamma Nakshatra, your specific birth star. Your birth star is literally the anchor that unlocks your fort's entire layout. This setup brilliantly illustrates the mathematical precision of the ancient system. Every single birth star gets assigned a very specific defensive tier. Your core citadel, the Stamba, mathematically holds stars 1, 9, 18, and 27. The inner and outer cities hold their own specific groupings, and the remaining stars form the outer wall of the Prakhara. Every single star has an exact assigned post to defend. All right, so the fort is built and populated. Now let's meet the main cast of characters actually guarding it. We've got 2 major players. On one side, there's the KOTA Swami, the lord of the fort. This is the planet occupying that central stamba, actively protecting your core like an elite secret service detail. In stark contrast, we have the KOTA Pala. That's the guard of the fort, standing watch on those outer boundary walls, functioning a bit more like frontline sentries or everyday security guards. Now, the absolute most crucial detail here is exactly who is sitting on the throne in the center. Having a benefic or naturally helpful planet as your KOTA Swami is incredibly auspicious. It means your fort is essentially under divine positive protection. But what if you have a malefic, destructive planet acting as your defending lord? Yeah, that's a serious problem. It's basically like leaving the gates unlocked from the inside. A malefic KOTA Swami actually weakens your defenses from the inside out. But hey, static defenses are really only half the battle, right? We've got to track the moving targets, and that is exactly where the moon comes in. In this system, the moon's daily transit through those nakshatras is watched extremely closely. Think of the moon as your real-time tracking system. As it sweeps through the fortress, it's constantly gauging your day-to-day level of vulnerability. You can almost think of it like an exposure meter. If the moon is hiding out in your central stamba, you're locked down. You're well protected and completely safe inside the citadel. But if the moon is transiting the Prakhara, that's a totally different story. You are highly vulnerable, standing right out there on the outer walls, completely exposed to external threats. And, it's actually not just about where the moon is sitting right now. It's about where it is going. The dynamic movement of the moon tells the real story. If the moon is retreating inward, toward the stamba, your situation is actively improving. You're heading to safety. But if the moon is moving outward, away from the center, and toward the Prakhara, that signals a deteriorating situation. Danger is rapidly increasing. So why does all this matter in the real world?
Well, because astrologers apply this to incredibly high-stakes scenarios. They use this exact chakra to purposefully avoid bad timings for major medical surgeries, to anticipate sudden illnesses, to strategize during really stressful litigation, and yet even to predict the outcomes of major elections and wars.
Now, just for some context, it's important to know the KOTA chakra doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's actually one of several highly specialized classical Vedic chakras. It works right alongside other major tools like the Sarvatobhadra, the Kala chakra, and Navamsha chakras. Together, they form a much broader, highly nuanced system that's used for deep, protective timing analysis. Okay, let's distill this whole shebang down. The core takeaway of this explainer, your ultimate winning formula for safety and victory, is simply this. You absolutely want your KOTA Swami, the Lord of the Fort, to be a benefic planet, and simultaneously, you want the moon to be moving inward towards the center. When both of those factors align, all the indicators are screaming safety, recovery, and victory. Which brings us to a final thought for you to chew on today. Take a second to think about your own life right now. What metaphorical battles are you currently fighting, and honestly, just how strong are your fortress walls? Are you operating from that vulnerable outer wall, or are you secure in your central citadel? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating architectural wonder of Vedic astrology with me today. Keep asking those big questions, and as always, keep learning.